I thought I would do a second update coming to you from a very, very busy and noisy Athens, Greece, downtown Athens, Greece. So I want to do a second update, and we have some news to talk about with regards to Ukraine, Russia, and also Hunter Biden, the laptop from hell, Joe Biden, and now CNN and the Washington Post are now throwing Biden under the bus. Something is going on. But first, let's talk a little bit about gas for rubles again, and the ruble in general, and then talk about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. And also, I want to just go over some developments with regards to the conflict in Ukraine as well. Some developments on the ground. So I looked at the ruble this morning, this Thursday morning. It's at 84. It is at 84 right now to the USD. I think yesterday I said it was at like 91, or a couple days ago I said it was at like 91. Now it's at 84. And I believe before the conflict started, the ruble was at 79 to the USD. So in about 3-4 weeks, it has gone from 140 to 84, 85. These sanctions that were placed on Russia to destroy Russia and to destroy the ruble and to create panic and a bank run and the collapse of the Russian government has completely, absolutely failed. It has failed in spectacular fashion. The ruble's going to get to 75. It's going to get to 75, especially given the moves that Russia has made with regards to gold and gas for rubles. Pretty soon it's going to be all Russian commodities for rubles. And I think it's going to drive the ruble to 75. And you know what Russia is doing? They're kind of creating this this transaction basket, this reserve currency basket, not even reserve currency, reserve asset basket, which consists of, say, rubles, RMB, Bitcoin, and gold. And that's how you're going to pay for commodities. That is how you're going to pay for commodities. No doubt about that. And with regards to this gas for rubles and the telephone call that Putin had with Schultz, there's a lot of people saying that, you know, what does this mean? Did Russia blink? Did Germany blink? Is Russia going to let Europe off the hook and let them pay for gas with euros and USD? I mean, if they do, if they allow that to happen, I can see why Russia may do that in order to not create too much instability. They may say, okay, you can pay Gazprom Bank in USD and in rubles so that they don't create too much volatility in the markets. Maybe it doesn't benefit Russia either. And at the end of the day, Russia gets what it wants either way when you think about it, because whether they force Europe to pay for the gas in rubles or gold, whether they force them to do that and they say we don't accept euros or USD, or if they say, okay, we'll let you guys pay for the gas in euros or USD, and we'll convert that to rubles. Gazprom Bank to the central bank, convert that to rubles. At the end of the day, it still creates the demand that's needed for rubles. Either one of the schemes does create demand for rubles, which is essentially what Russia wants. It's what's in Russia's best interest. The only question is, does Russia want to really stick it to Europe and to the EU by forcing them to pay for gas in rubles? Or do they want to create less volatility and less uncertainty by allowing, for the time being, allowing those transactions to take place in euros and USD, and then converting that to rubles? So I think that's, I mean, maybe it's a simplistic way of looking at it, but either way, Russia gets what it wants from a domestic standpoint. From their standpoint, they're going to get the demand for rubles that they want to keep the ruble strong. But the question is does Putin want to really stick it to Europe, given everything that Europe is trying to do to Russia? And I don't know. I can't answer that question. I will say this about Putin, my opinion on Putin when it comes to Europe, and especially Germany. And I've said this many times. I believe if there's one country that Putin has a soft spot for, it's Germany. It's Europe, but Germany in general, in specific. Europe in general, Germany in specific. Putin definitely has a soft spot for Germany. He worked there. He speaks German fluently. He's got a connection to Germany. And, he's a human being. And as human beings, we all have our soft spots, don't we? And I think that if there's one country he has a soft spot for, it's Germany. And if there's one country that he doesn't want to stick it to, it's Germany. Even though Germany is doing everything they can to destroy Russia, I don't know. I think Putin still has warm feelings about Germany and the time he spent there, and his understanding of Germany and the German people and the German culture. So I wouldn't be surprised if he tells his team at the Kremlin, that's fine if we accept euros for USD for now. Maybe we can still work with Germany to find a way out of this mess. And let's not really go after them. Let's not go to ruin the German economy just yet. And at the end of the day, we get the demand for rubles that we want. So our interests are served no matter what. That's just my thoughts on it. Let me know what your thoughts on it are. Before we get to Hunter and Joe, there is some, let me pull something up here. There is some activity going on. Obviously, there's a lot of activity going on the ground in Ukraine. The first thing I want to report is that the Russian military has created humanitarian corridors in Mariupol. So they've put a ceasefire in place for now. The ceasefire is just basically, what the Russian military and the Chechen forces, they're mopping up these Azov guys who are hiding away in apartments and homes or pinned down in this steel factory. And I guess the Russian military is deciding, do they want to obliterate this steel factory in one go and obliterate these Azov guys? Of course, that would destroy this imported factory, which is important to the city. Or do they want to try to preserve the factory and the infrastructure and just go step by step and eliminate these Azov guys, whether they're in apartments or the Azov guys in the steel factory? So that's what's really going on in Mariupol. But we have a ceasefire in place while they create humanitarian corridors and get some people out of Mariupol. They want to get them to Zaporozhye. But the big difference with this humanitarian corridor, and why I'm bringing it up, is because the Russian government said that in this corridor, they are not going to let Ukraine military sneak out. And the reason they're doing that is because the Russian military understands that at the moment, there are very few to none Ukraine military. Most of the people there are the Azov guys, and they want those guys. They want to hunt those guys down. They want them in custody. They don't want them to sneak off at all. So that's why you're getting this announcement saying that in this humanitarian corridor, we're not going to let military sneak out. Before, they would let the military, the professional Ukraine military, sneak out, go home, lay down your weapons, go home to your family, and live your life. And they would let that happen during their regular humanitarian corridors. But in this one, they're very specific. Military is not getting out because they know the only guys that are left are the Azov guys. And well, I wouldn't want to be one of these Azov guys, that's for sure. And I'm positive they're going to try to sneak out, and they're not going to make it. The Russians want these guys. They want these guys. So that's the news with Mariupol and the humanitarian corridor that's going to be in place today. There's news about Kherson. And remember, a few days ago, the New York Times ran an article that said Kherson is going to get taken over again by the Ukraine military, and everyone was talking about this awesome counteroffensive in Kherson and how it's proof that the Russian military is losing. Well, that story was complete nonsense from from all the information that we have right now, it's clear that the Ukraine military tried to announce a tried to announce blah that the Ukraine military. You see, I have trouble speaking sometimes. It's distracting when you have a lot of people walking around and stuff. But the Ukraine military, they did try to mount a counteroffensive, and it failed. It was a complete dud. And Kherson is firmly in control of the Russian military. Not only that, the reports are coming out today that the Ukraine military and Ukraine military officials are worried that Kherson will declare independence and will become the Kherson Republic, will become its own independent entity, its own independent country. And they're saying that because, well, Kherson is going on the ruble. Kherson is now allowing all kinds of Russian media to play, and the administrative apparatus in Kherson is now being revamped, and a lot of people close to Russia and a lot of people close to the Russian Federation are being placed in administrative positions. And so this has the Ukraine military officials worried that Kherson is about to break away from Ukraine. If it did do that, that would be massive news. That would just mean that we're one step closer to the complete disintegration of the Ukraine state as we know it. This is why Zelensky should surrender ASAP. The longer he waits out, the higher risk that Ukraine will disintegrate. The state of Ukraine that we know today will disintegrate. Now, is this true that Kherson is going to declare independence? I don't think so. Maybe, but I doubt it. I think what's going on is that the Russian Federation, because they've stabilized things they're about to stabilize things in the southeast of Ukraine and towards the south central, southwest, that they're going to look to put people in the administrative positions that are not NAZIs and that are not loyal to Zelensky. They're going to vet them, and they're going to see who exactly is running the show in various cities and towns and villages. And they're going to say, are these guys loyal to the Zelensky regime? Are they NAZIs? Are they loyal to Azov? Are they NATO puppets? They're going to look at all of these officials and they're going to say, if they're loyal to Zelensky, then they're going to have to go. And they're going to put their own people in place to stabilize the situation. Either way, it's bad news for Ukraine. Either way, this is all bad news for Ukraine and for Zelensky. And so that's the situation in Ukraine and in Kherson that I wanted to update everybody on. And now let's change focus and change gears to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and the laptop from hell. So CNN, the Washington Post, they ran stories yesterday and reports yesterday about how Joe Biden is in big trouble and Hunter Biden is in really big trouble. Basically, they're just following the New York Times lead, and they're saying that the laptop is real, it's true, and that Hunter Biden is being investigated, and he's in big trouble. And this may be big trouble for Joe Biden as well. I mean, the son's president is under investigation, may go to prison. Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe he'll be let off the hook. But either way, this is not good for Joe Biden. And, it signals, once again, that the mainstream media, which is controlled by the U.S. deep state, is turning on Biden. They want Biden out. They want Biden out. And we're just at the beginning of this smear campaign against Joe Biden. It's not really even a smear campaign. They're just reporting the facts, finally, on what's going on with Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. And the fact that they are reporting the facts about the laptop after 2 years of suppressing that information signals that they want Biden out. They want Biden out. And you have to always ask the question, why do they want Biden out? Is it because he is escalating too much in Ukraine? Is it because he's destroying the USD as reserve currency? Is the Fed, is Wall Street, are all these people sick of Joe Biden and telling Joe Biden, you know what, you're ruining everything with regards to the economy and the dollar as reserve currency? you have to go? Or do they want him out because he's not escalating enough and they want war? I don't know. What do you guys think? Which one is it? Why do they want Joe Biden out? And if Joe Biden leaves, that means we have Kamala. So does that mean that Kamala, who is being puppeteered by Obama and Susan Rice and this faction, does this mean that Obama, who's been very quiet during all of this, that Obama is now making moves? Is the Obama faction of the deep state, are they making moves to get Kamala into power under the belief that they'll be able to puppeteer Kamala better than, say, the Clinton faction and the neocons and the deep state was able to puppeteer Joe Biden? We're going to have to wait and see. It's going to be interesting how this plays out. Matt Gaetz from Florida, he put the contents of the Hunter Biden laptop, he put it into record, into the congressional record, which is big news, which means that all this information will be publicly accessible. Not that it isn't right now, but it's basically going to be out in the open for everybody to see. And I imagine the fact that it's congressional records means you can't have big tech censorship or any of this BS saying this isn't verified and this isn't true. I mean, it's going to be in the records now. So that was a bold move from Matt Gaetz. When he did that move, Jerry Nadler, who's in charge of the committee, was actually a little bit stunned and silenced. There's like a minute of silence when Gaetz says, I want to submit this into the congressional records. Jerry Nadler was like, I'll actually find the video and put it down so everyone can see it. It's a pretty interesting moment that took place in Congress. Power move from Matt Gaetz. Power move. Good on him. So yeah, so we have that news as well with the Hunter laptop. I mean, everyone, including myself, we're all asking the question, who's behind this? Who's behind this and why are they doing this? Who is behind this move to get Joe out, to get Joe Biden out, and why? Why do they want Joe Biden out? We're going to find out soon. We are going to find out very, very soon. And do I have one more story? Yes, let's talk a little bit about, real quick, about a conference in Dubai where you had a panel of African state leaders and the vice president of Tanzania actually made a statement during that panel, and everyone on that panel agreed. And his statement was that most African nations are staying neutral with regards to Russia and Ukraine. They're staying neutral. But the statement that was really interesting from the vice president of Tanzania was that he said, and I'm going to put up the statement so everyone can read it, but I'm going to try to remember what he said. He said that countries in Africa have had wars waged against them for many decades and centuries. So, you know, they know what the regime changes and the color revolutions and the colonial wars are like. He said it's interesting now that we're seeing this play out in Europe. He made that statement. But he said that African nations are going to stay neutral because, number one, they want peace. They want a diplomatic peace. But Africa is witnessing, the whole world, but Africa is also witnessing a tectonic shift in the global world order. And he said a tectonic shift. Those were the words he used. And he said Africa is looking more towards the east than towards the west. And I thought that was an interesting statement. Obviously, Africa is on the rise, and the potential in Africa is huge, is absolutely huge, from all aspects, is absolutely huge. And the fact that they are looking east, and this isn't every country in Africa, but on the panel you had a good representation of African leaders. The fact that they're now looking east, and they're admitting to the fact that they're looking east for their future. It's not just west. It's not just looking at the colonial powers. They're breaking free and they're saying, you know what? There's opportunity in the east. There's a future in the east. And when they mean the east, they mean China, of course. First and foremost, China. I thought this was an incredible statement. An absolutely incredible statement. So anyway, those were the stories that I wanted to get out to everybody. And that's it. That's it. TheDuran.locals.com. Take care.